Hello everyone, welcome to the video. And in this video, I'm going to share how I incorporated my businesses in Singapore, how I manage those companies remotely. I do not have to go to Singapore to do that. And also how you can do the same and why you should consider Singapore as a place to incorporate your businesses. So before we start, I want to let you know that I have incorporated 3 different companies in Singapore without visiting Singapore for this purpose, and I manage those companies remotely. I currently live in Vietnam and I keep traveling back home to India, and I've seen a lot of Indian entrepreneurs as well as Vietnamese entrepreneurs here incorporate their companies in Singapore. So first, let's see why they do that and what are the reasons that you might consider to incorporate your company in Singapore. Now, the first one is, first of all, if you think of Singapore, what do you think? A stable economy, a less corrupt country, mostly a clean country, a good place to do business, a friendly place to do business. We always think of Singapore as the hub of business. There are big companies who set up their main headquarters in Singapore and then do business around the world. And the reason for that is that all of these things are true. It is a stable economy. You can park your money safely in Singapore, and not just in Singapore dollars, but also in US dollars. So when you open your company bank account in Singapore, whether it's a digital bank account or a physical bank account, you'll also have the option to actually keep money in USD. And I keep most of the money that is in my Singapore companies in USD. So for example, for one of my companies, which works with US clients, we can accept payments directly in USD, right? The other advantage, which is sort of the biggest attraction, is the corporate tax rate, which can start from 0% and go up to anywhere like 17%, which is sort of the standard tax slab, which, as you can see, is already lower than what I would pay back home in India. And I would already have that saving for my business on my tax, apart from all the other advantages that I mentioned. It's also very easy to register and manage a company online when your company is based in Singapore. And there are some limitations or things that you might want to consider, which people talk about. And I'll also show you how you can solve those limitations. And 2 of those are, one thing that people worry about is that you need a nominee director in Singapore. You need a nominee director who is a local Singapore resident. However, there's a service that provides this. In fact, there are many services that provide this, and I'll tell you the service that I use in a moment. And the second one is opening a bank account. Is it hard? Is it easy? And it's actually pretty easy to run a digital bank if you don't really need a physical bank. And even if you need a physical bank, there are services that will make introductions to banks on your behalf. So before we get into that, let me also tell you the requirements that you need to go through in order to incorporate a company in Singapore. And you don't have to do all of this yourself, which is something that I'm going to get to in a moment. The first one is your company name. So you should find a company name that is available in the ACRA directory. ACRA, or ACRA, is the Accounting and Corporate Regulatory Authority of Singapore. And this is the authority where all of your documentation and all of that process has to go through, right? You will also need a local director who's a Singaporean, so a Singapore resident or citizen. And this can be solved by various services, which I'll talk about. You will need a registered office. You will need a unique identity number, which is called the UEN, which is also provided by the ACRA. You will need to file all of the paperwork, and you'll need a minimum paid up capital, which is just $1 Singapore dollar. Now, that being said, sounds like a huge list, but it can be all done online within a few days. I registered my first company in Singapore in 3 days, and my second company, because I'd understood the process, just took 2 days, right? That's all. After the incorporation, within the first week, I was literally creating virtual credit cards using an app from my dashboard, using those cards for different payments, which is something that I was finding very painful with my Indian bank accounts after the RBI regulations had changed, where credit cards were no longer were able to be used for recurring payments. There was a lot of limitations, a lot of workaround was needed to do that. All of that was solved, right? So the 3 key pillars that you need to take care of in order to run, start, and manage your business in Singapore The first will be incorporation, and this is the part where you need to literally set up the legal entity in Singapore. The second one is accounting, which is your ongoing maintenance, where you need to file all the paperwork to ACRA, submit your reports, file taxes, etc., which is mostly compliance. And as a business owner, I don't want to get into that. I have outsourced that entire thing. And the third one is growth, where you need to accept payments and invoices. This is where you're getting your client payments in, you're getting orders, all that good stuff is happening for your business. So those are the only 3 pillars. And as promised, I'm going to tell you how I do this. So I use a service called Awesome to do all of this. So they manage the entire incorporation, including all of the requirements that I mentioned. And also these 3 pillars are all taken care of by them. So let's jump into the dashboard so I can show you how I do this. Okay, so we are now on the page, and I'm going to put this link in the description as well so that you can get free incorporation for your Singapore company if you get Awesome services from my link, and you will get a 16% off. By the way, I am not making this as a sponsored video. They have not paid me for the video, but I am an affiliate for Awesome just because I use their services for my companies, and I would love to refer them because I'm really happy with their services. So like I said, there are 3 parts of the process. There are 3 different pillars. So there's incorporation. That's all you need to start your business. Then there's accounting. That's all you need to file and keep your business running. And then there's growth, where you need to get payments, where you need to send invoices, track your expenses and so forth. And that's what you need to grow your business. And Awesome takes care of everything, right? So they take care of your accounting. They take care of your incorporation, which is free if you get one of these plans, and they will also give you this nominee director / a corporate secretary, which is needed for the ACRA. And also this particular person that they will provide you will just be on paper. They will not actually be able to make or have the authority to make executive decisions. You will be the person who will be doing that. And this is the service that I've been using. It's been 3 businesses now that I've been managing with Awesome. It's a great experience. It's tech friendly. You have the app. You can do everything from the app itself. However, when you need, they have the support available. And this is where I would like you to basically, consider Singapore first. And if you decide on Singapore, you can have a look at Awesome and look at their services. I've also been in touch with them to discuss the visa process of how to get the visa for Singapore, and there are various options and they can help you with that as well if you actually physically want to go there. But if you just want to run your business remotely, that's cool as well. In fact, that's one of the biggest reasons that I registered in Singapore. I can completely run my business without having to go there. So that's all for this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll reply. Ciao.